Imagine if Canelo and Benavidez gets made. That's the Super Bowl of boxing. Boxing is on the rise. Canelo, don't screw it up for us. I thought I would never say this, but Canelo's scared.
It kind of comes across that he doesn't really have an interest in fighting David. You talking to him, does he have an, like, is that a fight that, like, he looks at it and be like, you know what, I want that?
You have to earn your fight in some way. You have to have a belt, you have to have a big win, and I think Sal acknowledges that victory over Caleb Plum would give him shouting rights to say, me. So if he wins that fight, I think he should start calling out Canelo Alvarez.
I know I could be the best in the world, but I just gotta wait my time. I think everybody is starting to see that I'm fearless, I'm relentless, and I'll fight anybody to get my respect in the ring.
Oscar De La Hoya clowns Canelo for accepting David Benavidez' fight, and he's absolutely right. Canelo's legacy talk collapses the moment Benavidez enters the frame. At 175, the Mexican monster walks him down and destroys him. Deep down, Canelo knows this fight ends with him flat on the canvas.
The Mexican monster said he wants to fight him at 175, Canelo, and he would stay in front of him like you said.
It would never happen, trust me. Canelo knows that David Benavidez will knock him out.
But Oscar wasn't finished. He had even harsher words about Canelo's arrogance. This is heavyweight criticism from De La Hoya, and it cuts deep. If the Saudis, with all their resources, are walking away from Canelo, then it's clear the issue isn't business, it's avoidance. He's pricing himself out, dodging the Mexican monster, and picking fights that nobody asked for.
So it turns out I'm not the only one who thinks Canelo is an arrogant piece of shit. Turki Al-Sheikh recently revealed that Canelo refused to meet with him in person and isn't entertaining any deals to be done with him. Why? Because he's outpriced himself so much that the Saudis don't even want to deal with him. And it's all because he will do anything not to fight David Benavidez. Look, Turkey is trying to make the best fights that everybody wants to see. And Canelo continues to take the fights that nobody wants to see. Canelo, you're really making the wrong enemies. But you know what?
That's the mentality of a true Mexican monster. Benavidez isn't talking contracts or excuses, he's talking war. No fear, no hesitation, just pure confidence. He's ready to meet Canelo head on, and if the fans in Saudi want blood and fireworks, Benavidez is promising to deliver exactly that.
So I'm expecting this man to come 100% ready for this fight. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not scared of nothing. You know, I accept and I invite war. You know, so if that's what the people of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia want to see, well, let's give it to them.
Classic Canelo deflection, hiding behind patriotism while dismissing Benavidez as accomplished nothing. The truth? Fans aren't buying it. Benavidez is undefeated, feared, and climbing fast. Canelo's words sound less like confidence and more like excuses, and that's why the pressure keeps mounting.
When I say I don't want to fight Mexican, it's because I represent Mexico. And that's why. But I don't care. I fight anybody, and I fight all my entire life anybody. What do you think? I don't want to fight with Juan Mexico or Benavidez. But look, I hear his dad talking a lot of shit. But look, what he's accomplished.
Even Hearn tries to spin it, saying Canelo laughs at the critics and would take the fight. But let's be real, laughing isn't signing a contract. Fans want commitment, not chuckles. Until pen hits paper, this looks like more smoke and mirrors from Canelo's camp.
When I've talked to Sal about Benavidez, like, the fact that people think he won't fight him, he actually laughs. You know, this is a guy, he's fought everybody. He'll fight Benavidez and we'll do that deal to fight Benavidez. But he wants activity, he wants a plan. Benavidez ain't happening in May because the PBC don't want to work with anyone. And now
And Turki Al-Sheikh made it clear, the Saudis want the fight and they want it now. When Turki Al-Sheikh pushes a fight, it's no longer a debate, it becomes a global priority. The Saudis have the stage, the funds, and the reach to make any bout happen. And if they're demanding Canelo versus Benavidez, it means one thing: the world wants blood. Yet, the louder the calls get, the quieter Canelo becomes. That silence is damning. It tells you he knows Benavidez is a different beast, a bigger, fresher, relentless machine who'll suffocate him at 175. For Canelo, it's a lose-lose. Accept and risk a brutal defeat on the grandest stage, or dodge it and wear the ducking label forever. Benavidez, meanwhile, stands to gain everything: legacy, respect, and superstardom. With Saudi power backing it, this fight feels inevitable. The only real question is whether Canelo has the courage to face it.
Canelo in Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September, don't miss with the lot.
Eddie Hearn tries to soften the narrative, but his comments reveal everything fans already know for Canelo. It's about the check, not the challenge. If the Saudis write a monster-sized number, he'll show up. If not, he'll carry on cherry-picking fights no one asked for. That's a dangerous stance for a supposed pound-for-pound great. Benavidez, on the other hand, doesn't posture about purses. He calls for war regardless of the venue or paycheck. That's the key difference: hunger versus comfort. Canelo has money, legacy, belts, and history, but he doesn't have the fire of a young lion desperate to cement his name. Fans see this and judge accordingly. If Canelo only signs under billionaire pressure, it confirms what critics say: he's not eager to prove greatness, he's eager to protect it.
I think it was probably a little bit tongue-in-cheek, because I know Saul will fight anybody, but he also knows that that's a big fight, and it is a massive fight. It's one of the biggest in boxing. And if you pay Saul the right money, he will take the fight. Whether that's 150 might be a little bit adventurous, but also I think, you know, his comments about the hydration, I think that's in his mind as well. You know, you're talking about a guy that will hydrate somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds. So he's not going to be a million miles away from 200 pounds in the ring.
Even Terence Crawford spotted the cracks in Canelo's excuses. Crawford calls it exactly how fans see it: Canelo's disrespect excuse is flimsy at best. Throughout his career, he's faced fighters who insulted him, taunted him, even mocked him publicly, and he fought them anyway. So why does Benavidez suddenly cross the line? The reason is simple: danger. Benavidez isn't just disrespectful, he's destructive. He has the size, power, and relentless volume to drag Canelo into deep waters and drown him there. Crawford knows this, and that's why he dismisses the excuse. It's not about Mexican pride, it's about self-preservation. The irony is, by refusing Benavidez, Canelo only looks weaker, while Benavidez grows stronger in the eyes of fans. Crawford has been in those trenches himself, and his read carries weight. Canelo isn't avoiding words, he's avoiding war.
Talking about how he didn't want to give David Benavidez the fight because he was being disrespectful.
When you look at the history of Canelo, all the fighters that was disrespectful, calling them out, and he fought all of them. But I just think from a Mexican standpoint, one being extra.
Johnny Nelson gives Canelo respect, but even his words feel like cautious optimism. Saying he's not the fighter he was is an admission that the decline has already begun. Against ordinary contenders, Canelo's experience and ring IQ are still enough to dominate. But Benavidez is far from ordinary. He's a generational talent with size, stamina, and ferocity that don't fade under pressure. Nelson leans toward Canelo, but that's rooted in history, not current reality. Boxing is about timing, and the timing here favors Benavidez. Canelo's skills remain sharp, but the volume and physicality of the Mexican monster present problems his current version may not be able to solve. If Nelson himself questions whether Canelo is still that guy, then you know the doubt is real, and doubt against a destroyer like Benavidez is fatal.
I am telling you now, it's going to make a difference. And then it's down to the skill of Canelo. Canelo's no fool. You know, he's going to put himself in a position where, you know what, he wouldn't have done this. He wouldn't have put himself in this position if he thought it's something that he could get 10-0 with. I lean towards Canelo all the way. I think this guy is not the fighter he was, but the fighter he is beats.
Oscar De La Hoya doubled down, blasting Canelo's excuses as pure ducking tactics. Oscar De La Hoya has been around boxing long enough to recognize a duck when he sees one, and his words slice through the noise like a blade. Outpricing yourself is the oldest trick in the book, a financial smokescreen that kills negotiations before they even begin. It's not business genius, it's fear dressed up in accounting terms. Canelo Alvarez, who has always branded himself as as a warrior willing to fight anyone, is now playing the role of a businessman more interested in dollars than daring. That's not the behavior of a pound-for-pound great, that's survival mode. Benavidez has done everything in his power to earn this fight. Stayed unbeaten, dominated world-class opposition, built his fan base, and brought a terrifying aura of inevitability. Yet, when the moment comes, Canelo doesn't stand tall. He hides behind inflated numbers. De La Hoya calls it perfectly. It's not about fairness, it's about avoidance. And what stings most is that fans know it. Legacy isn't built in contracts. It's forged under the lights, glove against glove, fire against fire, and right now, only one man seems willing to walk into the fire, David Benavidez.
Yeah, that's just another way to say I don't want to fight him. That's the bottom line. That's basically it. I don't want to fight him. So you throw out a number. I mean, it's classic from boxing 101. You don't want to fight somebody, just outbid yourself, outprice yourself.
I don't think it's fair.
David Benavidez speaks from the heart here, and you can feel the frustration pouring through every word. He's done everything the sport asks of a challenger. Undefeated, destructive in the ring, backed by the fans, and praised by pundits as the most avoided fighter of this era. Yet still, the biggest fight of his life remains elusive. What else can he do? Canelo Alvarez holds all the keys, but he refuses to open the door. That denial isn't just damaging to Benavidez's career, it's damaging to boxing itself. Fans are left waiting. The media keeps asking the same questions, and Benavidez is stuck chasing a shadow. His words, "I don't think he's ever gonna give me the fight," cut deep because it reflects what many already believe. Canelo has no intention of stepping in with the Mexican monster. History remembers champions who embrace challenges, but it also remembers those who dodge them. If this fight never happens, Benavidez won't be blamed. Canelo will, and legacy is unforgiving. Avoiding Benavidez would tarnish his name forever.
That was my play. But honestly, I don't know about Canelo. I'm tired of talking about Canelo. I don't think he's ever going to give me an opportunity. He's never going to give me the fight.
I don't think so either, unless Bivol gives you an opportunity to scrap him, beats him, and then you become the great Mexican.
Johnny Nelson's words strike at the core of what makes or breaks a fighter's career adversity. Great champions aren't measured solely by victories. They're defined by how they respond when the walls close in. Nelson has seen countless fighters cruise through the highs, only to collapse when the lows arrive. His warning is clear. Canelo Alvarez may have tasted defeat, but has he truly embraced it, learned from it, and rebuilt himself stronger? Against a fighter like Benavidez, there's no hiding place. The Mexican monster brings pressure, power, and pace in relentless waves, and only those with unshakable resilience survive. Nelson's point about fighters never being the same after one brutal loss feels almost prophetic here, because if Canelo steps into the ring and Benavidez drags him into the trenches, that could be the fight that permanently changes him. For years, Canelo has enjoyed the good times, money, fame, matchmaking control, but Nelson reminds us that when bad times arrive, only the toughest endure, and right now, all signs point to Benavidez being the one to break him.
Because if you're just having a good time, then you come across the bad times, you can't handle them, and that's when you disappear. I've seen fighters, once they've lost once, they've never been the same fighter again. I think winning, losing and drawing, if you understand all aspects of our sport, then once you've collected that wisdom, that knowledge, you'll never get beaten. And I think, Canelo has felt he's tasted.
This is more than just another fight. It's the very soul of boxing on the line. If David Benavidez wins, he doesn't just beat Canelo. He takes the crown, the aura, and the torch as Mexico's true warrior. The Mexican monster becomes the new face of the sport, feared and respected in equal measure. But if Canelo shocks the world, he reclaims his pride, silences the critics, and proves he still belongs at the very top, despite the doubts. This is legacy versus hunger, comfort versus chaos, survival versus destruction. Who's mentally stronger? Who truly wants it more? The fans know the truth, only the ring will reveal it. Are you backing Benavidez, or does Canelo have one last great performance left? Drop your thoughts below.